So thank you for joining us today for this record book workshop. Record books are an important element of what members can do to document what they've done and learned in their projects. And it also helps them when it comes to having the record book judged at the county level for awards. And also, the record book forms the basis when they're older. If they're gonna apply for an Arizona 4-H Youth Foundation scholarship, it's the record book that has to be submitted. If they want to earn a trip, be selected to go to National 4-H Congress, it's the record book that's important, and that they use to make that assessment. The other thing about record books, and if you go to the website, and I put up the link, which is extension.arizona.edu/4H without a hyphen. We don't like to write it that way, but that's the way it is on the website. Anyway, that takes you to the main page for the 4-H program. And if you scroll down on that main page, you'll get this related content list on the right-hand side. And AZ 4-H record books are right there. So today you've got the handouts, which are the actual forms printed from this website. So we're going to go through them. These same forms are in Z Suites. So when we go to Z Suites, this is how members will submit their record books. Now this is my account as a volunteer, and I set up this nice little fictitious child here so that I can show you how the record book online parallels with the record book forms that we have. So if it's easier for a kid to just fill it out completely online, great. If they would prefer, and as a parent or a leader, you want to see what they're developing and help give some input, you could either look at what they're doing online, or you could also, if they prefer, or you prefer, work with them on the forms. So they can print out the forms from the 4-H website and follow along. There are 3 handouts that you have today. The first is this, called For the Record. It's the Arizona 4-H Members Guide for completing the 4-H record book. And so it's instructions. It's basically what we're going to talk through today, but you have a guide to refer to later. And then there are 2 parts to the 4-H record book. So one part is this form that's the Arizona 4-H Members Record. This is the generic form about every and anything that a kid does. And this form is cumulative. We used to call it the cumulative record form, because it does track every single year of members in 4-H. They're all in here. And then for each project that they do, there is the Arizona 4-H project record. So if you're in one project, you'll fill out one of these for that project. If you're in 3 projects, you'll have 3 of these. If you want to be considered for awards, you've got maybe all your major work and accomplishments are in one project, and your others, you're like, well, those aren't really worthy of an award. You have the option to fill them out or not fill them out, depending. But there will be a record that you did that project that will show up in your cumulative project record form. So we're going to start with this overall cumulative record form today, because that's also what you get when you go into Z Suites. So I'm going to choose this fictitious member, and I'm going to go to the left-hand dark column, and the third, so you've got the dashboard, the newsletter, and then record books. So I'm going to click on record books. So when you're getting started, you're going to click on the little green box to add a record book. So then you're going to fill out this information. This is the same, so this is, let me see. So I think on Z Suites they start with the project record. So I'm going to say sewing is my project, and I have my club, the primary category. Oh, here's where I get to choose. I get to choose, am I doing the member record or am I doing the project record? So we're going to do the member record first. So I'm doing that. Subcategory is also member record. record book type, it's the 4-H member record book, and it's for the year that's just ending, so it automatically comes up with the current year when you're doing it. And the project end year, I'm gonna just say it's 22 to 23. The start date, you know, we started meeting and, oh, I guess you have to go to the calendar. So I have to go back several months to August 15th of 2022. End date is gonna be, I'm gonna say it's the end of July, like the 28th. Okay, so I'm gonna save that. And then, oh, well, let's see. So I'm saying I'm getting the project 7 years, then I have to sign it. I can type in my name, my parents' names. So you can print this out. Your leader can make comments. The problem right now we're having with Z Suites is I can't send this page to the leader to sign it and make the comments online, but so they've changed this a little bit from last year. So once I set up the member record, then if I need, like if it's a horse project, I need an identification certificate, I can input it right there, so I can choose the animal, you know. But then I go to project goals. So in the member record, you have your basic information, your name and address and all that. That's already in Z Suites because you put that in there when you enroll, right? So that's the first page. The second page in the project record is project goals. So it looks like this on the form, but it looks similar in Z Suites. So you just think about, and you're answering basically the same questions, which is, what do you want to make, learn, or do in the year? So I want to make a skirt. So steps required is find a pattern, find fabric, right?
Different types of stitching.
So learn types of stitching, etc., right? So I save the goals, and I can go back and edit that as you see, or if I decide I don't like anything I wrote, I can use the little red trash can and delete it. But then I go to the next page, that's the project activities, which is the same as the next page in your project record form. So you're gonna add, and this is a part of what you can do throughout the year. So if you start your record book at the beginning of the 4-H year, then when you have project meetings, at the end of your meeting, you can go either on your phone or wherever, you can say, oh, we had a project meeting, you know, yep, on Monday this week. And so what did we do? We learned how to select appropriate fabric, right? So we can do that, and we can, of course, write everything else that we did. You know, maybe we did a field trip to the fabric store, but we can describe what we did. And so every single project activity will be automatically in your record book because you'll keep it up as you go through the 4-H year. The next page is the project accomplishments. So what did you accomplish, or did you accomplish your goals? Why or why not? The same question that's in Z Suites is here on the paper form. So our goal was to make a skirt. So you said, yes, we were able to find appropriate pattern and fabric. And so then the next question is, did you receive any recognition in this project? And we're gonna say we got a red ribbon at fair. next question is, will you do this project next year, yes or no? And so we're gonna say yes. Why? Because sewing is fun, and you get to make stuff. So if you answered yes, what would you like to learn next year? So now we need a how to make a blouse to go with that skirt, or whatever it is you want to learn. Then you get into this, which is the next page in your forms, the project inventory. So this is where you keep track of all the items that you own related to your project. And you start at the beginning of the project and you go to the end. So you click below the orange box, you click the A, part A, which is the beginning of the project. So at the beginning of the project, we're gonna add an inventory item that we had a sewing machine. We just had one, and the price of the item was like $120. Just an estimate. Okay, so the total value then is $120, right? So then we say that. So we do that for each of the things. So if you buy other kinds of sewing equipment, like if you have really good quality fabric shears, you probably want those on your inventory list because you're gonna have those from year to year to year. You can also add to your inventory something like, let's say we used elastic, because the skirt we made was elasticized. So we had 3, it won't let me add yards, but we had 3 yards, okay? And it was, 50 cents a yard, right? So the total value would be about 50. So we save that. All right. So once we get our inventory set of what we have, then we're gonna go back to the project inventory page, the main page, and we're gonna go part B, the completion of the project. So at the completion of the project, it's gonna ask us again, what do we have? So here it says we have a sewing machine. So we're gonna edit that, and we still have it. We still have one, unless we bought another one. It was $120, and still $120. So we would save that. And then we go to the elastic, and we say, now we only have 1 yard left, because we used 2 of the yards. So the price of each was 50 cents, and so the current value is 50 cents, not $50. Okay. All right, so we've done the beginning and the ending inventory. Then we come down to the income and expense record. So this is where every time we bought something, we're gonna put it on the income and expense record. So we're gonna put the date, we'll say, for ease, I'm just gonna say we did everything on Monday. So the item is we bought 3 yards fabric. It was an expense of, I don't have to put the dollar sign because I already have one there, $15 for the fabric. So we'll save that. And then let's say that really what I did with that fabric is I made gifts for people, and I sold them at a bazaar. So I could say that the date is also, we'll say it's on the 4th. So the item would be a wrist pin cushion. And the income, let's say out of 3 yards of fabric, I made 30 wrist pin cushions, and I sold them for $5 a piece. What is that, $150? So there's my income and expense. So then we click on the financial summary. So, and again, this is that relates to the financial summary page that's in the record book. So they're asking, how did I pay for the project? I'm gonna say my newspaper route. Now that you've completed the financial summary, what did you learn? I learned I could make money. Sewing. How does this influence what you'll do next year? Well, it makes me want to do it again. And what would I do differently? I would ask potential customers what they like in terms of color of fabric or materials or even just the items, right? So then it says thinking back on your year in this project. So you'll see in the paper copy you have a little survey and you're gonna circle, your choices here. And this is gonna be similar to when you did the inventory. We had beginning of the year, end of the year. So at the beginning of the year, you have this survey and it asks questions like, so at the beginning of the year, rate yourself. Did you think about what might happen because of your choices? No, I really didn't. Did you plan how to use your financial resources? Sometimes. Did you use your time wisely? Sometimes. Did you treat people who are different from me with respect? Usually. Did I organize the group to meet its goal? No, I hadn't done that before. Did I contribute as a member of a team? Not really. Did I accept a responsibility for doing a job? Did I choose activities that promote physical health? Did I avoid risky behaviors? And did I understand it's important to follow through on commitments I've made? So I answer the pre-survey, I save it, and then I click back on thinking back again. I go to the end of the year survey, and I fill out my responses for the same questions. So this is kind of what we think of as a post-only, pre-post survey, because we're asking at the end of the project, looking back now, what do you think that you did in advance of the project, and what are you doing now? So you want to complete both parts of that survey. And then you can come to this next link and view the record book. And you can download it or whatever, but you'll see now, voila, it looks like the member record. And so if I had typed in everybody's names, what our office will do is connect with your club leader to make sure that they have had access and seen your record and that you actually completed the project, and see if they have any comments to add before finalizing your record. But you'll see your project goals are there. The next page is your project activities. Ideally, if I'm doing this for at least 6 or more meetings, I'm gonna have more things on my list, right? The next page is the project accomplishments. Then the project inventory, look at that, nice little chart, comes out and it shows my opening inventory, total, what it's valued at, and what my closing inventory, so it automatically does that math for me, which is kinda nice. Then this is the project income and expense record. So you can see I had $15 in expenses and had $150 in income. So, good for me. And then here's the financial summary, which was on that financial summary page, but we just answered the questions because it automatically pulls from the data I've put in to do the financial summary. So it shows the value of my inventory plus the income I made, the total value of the project for that year. And then it shows my total expenses. And so, what's the result of my financial investment? I made $134 profit, right? So it could, if it was in brackets, that would be a loss, you know, and sometimes we don't make money on a project. Not all projects are we selling things. And then here is your pre-post, post-only pre-post survey about what you learned and what you did in 4-H this year. So that's the project record. And so you'll do a project record for each of your major projects, or, you know, or any project that you want to be considered for an award on. So when I go back to the record book home, I'm now gonna choose the member record. That's the one I wanna work on. So again, the choices, they've moved it now. It used to be you click on that and the whole thing would come up, but now you can do section by section. So below the record, once I've clicked on that, you can see where this, when we're doing the project record, the gold box was around this one. Now I've clicked there, so the gold box is there. That shows me which record I'm working on. So I go to member info. This is where we're gonna put my name and address. It's the basic information that is on the first page of the Arizona 4-H member record. So the next page is the summary of 4-H projects. So you can, remember I said this is a cumulative listing of all the projects that you've taken year by year. So we're gonna come in here and I'm gonna say that I did sewing, and the years I did it are gonna be, so I did it in 2022, and I also did it in 21, and I did it in 2020. So I did 3 years in sewing, we'll say. And then I save that. And if I have other projects I've done, I just click on the project summary, because I'm gonna add another project, and I'm gonna say what that other project is. You know, maybe this year I added I'm gonna say that I added a leadership project. And the only year that I did that was gonna be this year. So I saved that. So you can see now I have 2 project records. So I'm gonna have to go back, and if I want to be assessed on my leadership project, I'll have to go back and add my leadership project record, right? So then the next thing is leadership. These are things that I have done where I have been a leader. So we have the form in hard copy, but we also have it here in Z Suite. So we're gonna say new leadership. So the year was not sure what the -1 is. Let's see, 2022. The level. So these letters, the L is for local, so like in your local club. The C is for county, something that you did at the county level. S is for state, so anything you did at the state level in Arizona. R is for regional, so maybe you did something that involved a couple of states, or it was in, you were representing the West on something. And then N, of course, is for national. So, and you'll see these letters repeated, and the definitions of them are in that guidebook. So I'm gonna say this was at the local level, and this was at the club level. It's for the whole club. What was my role? I was the club secretary. I took the minutes at the meetings. Okay, so I'm gonna save that. And then maybe also I did something in 2022 that was at the county level. maybe it was, I'm gonna say it was the county junior leader, is it a club, association, what is it, committee? And so my role is I was the co-chair. Okay, so I'll save that. So I've got 2 leadership things that I did, one at the local level in my club and one at the county level. So the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go on to the next page, which is community service. And so again, this is gonna be a cumulative record, and so I'm going to add here that in 2021, I'm gonna go back a year, that I did, this was at the club level, or I could put the name of my club, and this was bell ringing for Salvation Army, something my club does often. And I'm gonna say I spent 4 hours doing that. And I'll save that. So let's say I put that in my record last year. So this year I can come back and I can add to that. I'll say this year I spent 6 hours. Say that. So I put in all my community service. Then the next area is communication skills. And communication skills are one of the key skill areas that we're trying to develop in young people, because whether we're doing a job interview, or we're having to teach a class as part of our work, or we're in a class in college and we're expected to do some public speaking and do a class presentation, whatever the reason, we all have to speak to others at some point in our life, right? So we try to help build those skills so young people aren't so nervous and afraid of doing that public speaking. So, and there's different types of communication that you can do too. So I'm gonna say in 2022 at the county level that I wrote an article for the 4-H newsletter. The article was about club activities over the past year. So how many times did I do that? In this case, I just did it once because we only have this week. So one time. So, but I could have been the regular club reporter, and I could have been doing a monthly article. Maybe I did 8 of them over the course of the year. Who knows? So I'm gonna add those communication activities. Then I have the contest activity or event. So, you know, we did the county fair, and the years I did it, so this is gonna let me check off a bunch of different years. So since I've been in 4-H 3 years, remember we called that from earlier, having done sewing 3 years, I'm gonna check all 3 years and save that. Now if there's other contests, maybe I did, this year I did the FCS contest day. I could add that in, right? So I could add it in each year. And then next year, when I wanna add it in again, I just add the other new year that's in the system. Then it gives me an opportunity to talk about different kinds of recognition. So 2022, significance level. No, I'm not sure what 1 through 15 means. Do we know?
It's not on the
Actually, I think in Z Suites, what this means is if it's the most important thing, I'm gonna give it a 1. If I've got 6 things, I'm gonna rank order them. And so then when it prints out the record book, it's gonna be in that order. So to test that out, I'm gonna put in 2 different
We
recognitions.
did it on paper, it says list most significant and most important honor first.
Yes, and that's why I think that this is here. So this is gonna be best of class sewing skirt. Even though I've got a red ribbon on it, but for the sake of this. So then the recognition, I'm gonna say also 2022, I'm gonna say significance level is 2. And I'm gonna say that, what? Oh, I just drew blank. I'm gonna say I got picked to speak at graduation about 4-H. Okay. So then the next part on the list is other organizations. So remember, this is a cumulative record, and this is everything about you. And so, and when you get around to doing like college applications and those kinds of things, they want to know what you've done besides 4-H. And for us with 4-H, we want to know that you're a well-rounded, actively engaged young person. So that's why we ask about things that you do outside of 4-H. So it's not just what you do in our organization, but it's other things that you do. So I'm gonna say I did Girl Scouts, if I can type. And I'm gonna say that I did that in 2020 and 2019. So I did it before I joined 4-H and a little bit after I did 4-H, and so I'm gonna save that. And I could do others. Then you come to your 4-H story. And so the 4-H story, we have some guidance and advice about the story. It's on this page in the forms. It's also in the guide. It's also here online. But it gives you some ideas about what to talk about. Like you could talk about your projects. You know, if you have, when somebody had a lamb and they wrote their 4-H story from the point of view of the lamb, talking about how I got bought today by this really great young person who, you know, treated me really kindly and took me home and gave me a nice place to stay. And every day they brought me fresh bedding and they made sure I had plenty of food and water, which was really important because it gets really hot in Arizona, you know. So they told their whole story from that vantage point. So you can be creative with this. You can talk about one particular moment that was meaningful to you. You can talk about, you know, reflect on what are the key lessons that you learned in 4-H over the year. So you can do it from lots of different vantages. So I'm just gonna. So then you write your essay and, you know, say all the great things, and then you save your essay, and then we go to photographs. So project photos are a great way to document what you did, and people love seeing the photos, and they can show what you learned in your projects. So, and you have the opportunity here to add photos, and you just select an image on your computer and you upload it into your, and you can give it a caption. It's always best if you give a caption and explain what's in the photo, because it might be self-explanatory to you, but to somebody who's never been around the project that you're taking, it's not self-explanatory. So you upload that, you put the date that the photo was taken, or if you did it at a project meeting, if you're great, I've got parents that come to my project meetings and they're always getting out their cell phones and taking pictures, and which is really great because then they can upload them right into the project record. And then you can view that record book. And so it comes out looking just like the record book does on the forms. Oh, okay, yeah. So whether it's your project record or your overall, you can download it, and that way you can do some edits and you can go back in and check it. but you can also click the submit button, and then it would automatically submit it. See, I successfully submitted my sewing record. And it submitted the project because that's what it was doing. So that's the member record, and then of course you would want to highlight and also submit the other one, you know, the project record. And again, if you have more than one project record, you're gonna submit that. So they moved those were at the bottom before. So apparently they were hard for people to find, so they've got that at the top now. So it has your basic information, it has a summary of all the projects, and you can see there's black dots for the years that I did different projects. And this year is gonna be the most recent year, and then how far back in time. It really would only go to here because, you know, 10 years is about the length of somebody's 4-H membership. Unless you were a Clover Bud, you can put your Clover Bud work in here and you can have some. But I think 2009 is when we started with Z Suite, so that's why all those years are there. But don't worry that you don't have projects going all the way back there, because a lot of it depends on how long you've been in 4-H. And that's the basics of how you create a record book in Z Suites. Once you're done with your record book, if I've done it multiple years, you can see up here, there's a box to click so I can show what was archived. So for that cumulative record form, that's gonna be really key, is to be able to see what was archived, okay? To see that growth and that engagement over a period of time. So if this is your first year, you don't have to worry about that. But if it's your second, third, fourth year, you want to make sure that you click that so all your archived materials show up. So, any questions about using Z Suites and using the forms and where to find them? Again, you can find the paper forms and read the guidebook right here on the State 4-H website. You just click on the AZ 4-H record books link right there, and when you click on it, it takes you to this page. I'm gonna scroll down a little bit, and you see, oh look, there's the project record. This is the one that you do for each of your projects, and then the member record is the cumulative one that's gonna show all of your participation across all the years, what kind of recognition you've gone all the years, what kind of work you've done at other organizations, all your community service, all your club demonstrations and public speaking opportunities and everything that you've done. Any questions? Then I must have been perfect. All right, well, thank you all for coming, and good luck helping your members to get their record books done, and for you members, good luck getting them done. And don't forget to, get started with it early in the year so that you can be adding the information about each of your project meetings into that project record as you go through the year. And that way, by the time you get to summer, it'll be half done, just about. The record book deadline this year is July 31st. And so you've got a few weeks left to get your record books completed. So good luck on doing that. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to call the extension office. Thanks.